Hello and welcome to Old Man Rants About a 35-second video game clip for 10 minutes. I mean, the Rapatopolis show. Alright, so a few people have asked me about my thoughts on this new AC Shadows parkour clip that came out recently, and I'm honored that some of you seem to value my opinion when it comes to these types of topics, so thank you for thinking of me. I do consider myself to be a modern parkour optimist, but if you recall back when the first gameplay for Shadows was released, my reaction and attitude about what I saw was certainly less than optimistic. The initial gameplay just didn't check any of my boxes for what I had hoped to see, and what was shown left me with not very much to be excited about. Well, now we have a brand new clip to chew on. It's only 35 seconds, which isn't very long, but at least it will be easy to cover everything, so let's talk about it. I haven't watched any videos of anyone else talking about this, and I was busy and missed the conversation with my secret inner circle that they had about it, so this is going to be pretty much as pure and uninfluenced of an analysis as you can get from me. While watching this clip, there's one thing that is extremely obvious, the elephant in the room. There's a lot of flips happening here. Now, I know some people absolutely hate these flips, but I personally am not inherently against the idea of flipping around from rooftop to rooftop. If you watch my videos, you may know that I'm a big advocate for having fun while playing video games. I know, a blasphemous and dangerous stance to take, but I'm a brave and powerful soldier, and I do think that doing flips can be fun, but I have some questions and concerns. First, let's talk about how they look. I know a lot of people are upset that these flips look slow and floaty, and I think I agree. As video games get more and more realistic, I sometimes have a hard time discerning if the physics look realistic or not, but in this case, all of the jumping and flipping looks almost as if it's in slow motion, and if this is realism, I want to go back. I don't think they look absolutely horrible, but there's certainly something off. When I first saw this clip, I literally laughed at the way it looked, but something about it has sort of grown on me. Still, the slowness of the jumping and flipping really kills the feeling of momentum. Also, she stumbles a bit when landing from these jumps, and there's a split-second kind of transitional period where she regains her footing before getting back up to speed, and I don't really have an issue with it. Although it might be cool for landings in a non-contextual setting to have the option to maybe roll on landing to keep your momentum. What I mean by that is landing in a context like this, where she's kind of targeting the peak of this little rooftop thing here. It basically acts like a beam when you target it. So I wouldn't expect her to be able to roll here and keep that momentum going. But if she were landing on a flat surface, it would be cool to be able to roll and not lose any speed. We'll see if that's possible. While we're on the topic of speed and momentum, now it does appear to be pretty quick on her feet. Just her acceleration and the speed of her feet looks pretty good here. I think this flip that she does off the grappling hook is my favorite looking one. Something about the arc and the range of the jump seems to match with the speed of the flip better, at least to my eyes. I have some more to say about the two examples of grappling hook usage that we'll talk about later, so don't you worry, we're going to cover it. It's still unclear to me how these flips are performed, whether they happen automatically when you jump to certain contexts or if it's something you can trigger manually. If they're automatic, I think it would be pretty annoying and it would get old super fast. We see 6 flips in 25 seconds in this clip, which I think we can all probably agree is too many damn flips. If this is the normal automatic state of movement in this game, I can't imagine it would be enjoyable for very long. I think the biggest problem with this clip in regards to the flipping is that if you take them away, this is a very boring clip and is extremely unremarkable as far as movement. She would just be performing very simple, slow jumps across a series of rooftops with a grappling hook swing in the middle. If the entire gimmick of movement in this game is the ability to do a flip, we are in serious trouble. Alright, next I want to quickly talk about this jump here before she pulls out the grappling hook. It may seem innocent enough, but if you've played the RPG era games, you will recognize this as the same non-contextual jump animation from Mirage, Valhalla, and going all the way back to 2017's Origins. Make no mistake, and don't let talk of the Anvil pipeline engine fool you. This game is 100% built on the same movement system that we've seen for the last 4 entries in the series, and the single jump animation offers more proof to that. And using this information and sort of analyzing the weird and slow physics on display here leads me to believe this is going to play more like the Valhalla version of this movement system as opposed to the improved version that Ubisoft Bordeaux tweaked for Mirage, which means we'll almost certainly lose the height-gaining ejects we got with Mirage's Parkour update as well as the other improvements we got at launch. I could be wrong, but going off of what I'm seeing here, that's my guess. So if the flips are the elephant in the room of this video, I suppose the grappling hook is like a rhino or something, maybe a walrus. We have 2 different examples of grappling hook use here, just like we did in the previous gameplay trailer, but I think this short clip does an even better job of demonstrating my issue with it. Now, one of these uses of the hook actually sits pretty well with me, and one of them causes alarms to go off in my brain. Do you have any guesses to which is which? That's right, Spider-Man swing move good, rooftop rappel move bad. Don't worry, I'll tell you why. You see, with this big swing maneuver, it's isolated to this specific object and dependent on your proximity to it. There will be opportunities to perform these moves, obviously, but only in predetermined locations. Now with this one, it appears that it can be done anywhere, or at least anywhere one of these rooftop overhang eave type things are. And if you've been paying attention to the video that's been repeating this entire time, you may have noticed that they're literally everywhere. Every single surface that Naoe's feet touch in this clip has those overhangs. Now I want to make it clear that my problem with this move is not that it's unrealistic, it's not that it's historically inaccurate in any way. My problem lies within this use of the grappling hook is damaging to the traditional parkour gameplay loop and essentially spits on the parkour philosophy of the original games by giving the player instant access to the rooftops with the push of a button in almost any situation. Are you stalking an enemy and he's turning around to detect you? No problem, just press R1 and zip to the roof. This mechanic is going to take away all the fun of analyzing and strategically moving through your environment and optimizing use of different parkourable architecture in exchange for a one-size-fits-all get-out-of-jail-free card at the push of a button. I can actually see the other swinging example of this move promoting thoughtful gameplay in certain situations instead of dumbing it down. Let's say, for example, your target is inside this building over here and you need to kill him and there's a pod or something over in this area, and you know that since you have this specific swinging move available to you in this specific area, that if you're able to move your target in range, that you can take him out. So you throw a knife at the pot to break it and lure your target under the pole and swing through the air to assassinate him. This is great, I love it. But this situation is only great if it's limited to certain areas, making it more difficult and more special to actually pull off. Finally, I want to talk about the environment here. We're visiting another castle type area in this video, which is really the only type of environment we've seen Naoe move through. And as far as castles go, I think this looks fine. There's still not much going on here, no real crazy parkour opportunities available, but for what it is, I think it looks okay. There's a pretty high density of buildings in this area, so there's plenty of room to move around above your enemies to gain the advantage over them. So at the very least, there appears to be some incentive to move around on the rooftops, which is nice. I like the breeze blowing through the trees and all that. I really like the way her footsteps sound on the rooftops. It's very AC2 vibes, which is always a plus. The last Shadows rant I went on, I was very critical of the environment for being hostile to creative movement, and people were quick to tell me that there will certainly be much better, more urban areas that will be better for movement. We haven't seen any of these yet, besides a tiny bit in the Yasuke portion of the gameplay demo, which didn't really give us much of anything to speculate on. But let me ask you this. If they have parkour-friendly urban environments in this game that look cool and will be fun and satisfying to move through, don't you think they'd use them for a demonstration like this one? Why would they choose another castle as the setting for a parkour-specific gameplay demo if they had a far superior environment just down the street? They wouldn't. Okay, and with that, I think that's really all I have to say. I've gone on long enough here, and like I said last time, I hope I'm not coming off too pessimistic here. I'm just calling it like I see it. These are just my opinions as an old man who thinks about parkour too much. I honestly can't wait to get my hands on this game and really find out for myself what it's capable of. Maybe I'm not a parkour optimist as much as I am just a parkour masochist. Anyways, I gotta go. Love you, bye.